So, I was watching a movie on Peacock with my wife the other night. Shout out to one of my teammates at work, Chandra, for the movie recommendation. And in between the drama, the real drama showed up. The commercials, one after another. Those glossy ads that rolled across the screen. Glowing skin, happy couples on bicycles, families at the beach. And then you hear it. Ask your doctor about ... followed by a name that sounds like a Marvel villain and a price tag that could buy a used car. As an obesity and metabolic health doc, I'm thinking we're treating metabolic fires with $1,000 fire extinguishers while almost nobody is asking who lit the match. So here's my twist on that movie title. When it comes to conditions that are largely metabolic, whose fault is it that people aren't told? We might not need all of this if we fix lifestyle first. So let's talk about a few of the heavy hitters you've probably seen advertised. First up, Dupazit, used for things like eczema and asthma. Great innovation, but as of 2025, the list price is about $3,990 per carton of 2 injections, often given monthly. That's basically a $4,000 prescription for calmer skin and lungs. Eczema and asthma live in the same neighborhood as metabolic syndrome. Chronic inflammation, immune dysregulation, and often an ultra-processed high-sugar diet in the background. Then we have Skyrizi, a biologic for psoriasis inflammatory bowel disease. The list price for 1 dose is over $22,000, usually given every 8 to 12 weeks. Psoriasis is not just a skin thing. It's tightly linked to obesity, insulin resistance, and systemic inflammation. Next is Rinvoq, a JAK inhibitor for rheumatoid arthritis, atopic dermatitis, and other autoimmune conditions. The list price for a 30-day supply is $6,700. That's rent for a mortgage payment for luxury living in a lot of cities. Paid every month so the immune system will calm down enough to let you open a jar or sleep through the night. Then there's Tezspire, a biologic for severe asthma. 1 injection can run $4,000 to $6,000. For people with life-threatening asthma who've tried everything else, I am grateful these medications exist. And headlining the metabolic musical, we have the GLP-1s like Wegovy. Depending on the program, list price has historically been well over $1,000 a month, with newer deals bringing it down to around $500 a month for cash-paying patients. Still, that's about $6,000 a year for 1 medication to tame an appetite that was largely broken by our food environment in the first place. Now pause with me for a second. I'm not anti-medication. I prescribe some of these. I have patients whose quality of life has improved. This is not throw your injections in the trash and just eat steak. Please do not do that. And never change a prescription without talking to your clinician. What I'm saying is this. When eczema, psoriasis, asthma, autoimmune disease, obesity and diabetes all live in the same metabolic zip code, it's misleading to pretend that all we can offer people is a lifetime of 4 to 6-figure prescriptions. Whose fault is that? Is it the drug companies? They did what the system pays them to do. Take complex biology, build targeted molecules, and charge what the market and our third-party payers will tolerate. Is it the food industry? They engineered ultra-processed foods that hijack your dopamine, spike your insulin, inflame your gut, and then rebrand themselves as heart healthy because they sprinkled in some whole grains and plant sterols. Is it the healthcare system? We trained generations of clinicians to manage numbers, not root causes. We gave 15-minute visits, stacks of prior authorizations, and guidelines that read like shopping lists of drugs, with nutrition buried in the appendix. Is it us as individuals? It's easier to inject something once a week than to say no to the break room donuts. Re-engineer your kitchen and sit with uncomfortable emotions without eating them. So the honest answer is, it's everyone's fault. But as a physician inside the system, I have to start by pointing at me. When I see a patient with eczema, psoriasis, joint pain, asthma, or obesity, I can choose my script. One script says, here's the newest medicine. Here's the copay card, and we'll see what your insurance says. The other script says, let's talk about what's inflaming your immune system in the first place. Let's talk about sugar, seed oils, sleep, stress, and how many ultra-processed foods live in your pantries. The second script is harder. It requires coaching, follow-up, and sometimes uncomfortable truth. It also honors the fact that many of these conditions are metabolic, not just random bad luck. When people adopt a low-carb keto or carnivore pattern, we see insulin calm down, inflammatory markers drop, visceral fats shrink, gut inflammation calm, and a lot of mysterious skin and joint complaints get dramatically better. Are there people who do all of that and still need the biologic or the GLP-1? Absolutely. That's where innovation shines brightest, on top of a solid lifestyle foundation, not instead of it. Let's do a quick money thought experiment. Take Dupixent at about $4,000 a month. National data says the average price of ground beef in the US is around $6.25 a pound, and a dozen large eggs runs around $3.50. For the list price of 1 month of Dupixent, you can buy over 6,000 pounds of ground beef, or more than 1,000 dozen eggs. That's over 13,000 eggs. I'm not suggesting you actually eat 6,000 pounds of ground beef in a month, but notice how upside down our priorities are. We say healthy food is too expensive, while quietly normalizing medications that cost more than a year of college tuition if you add them up over time. Imagine if even half the people currently funneled straight to these drugs first got serious. Structured help with a low-carb or carnivore approach, stress management, sleep, and movement. Imagine if insurers paid for real food, group nutritional support and coaching, stress and sleep management, remote patient monitoring with scales and blood pressure cuffs, pharmacists to help patients safely come off medication, and kitchen makeovers with the same enthusiasm they pay for injections. How many prescriptions would become optional instead of inevitable? How many billions could our health system redirect towards prevention instead of patching leaks? So, back to our original question. Whose fault is it? On paper, we can blame big food, big pharma, broken guidelines, and perverse incentives. But blame is not a strategy. My responsibility is to tell you that many of these mysterious modern diseases are, at their core, metabolic. To remind you that your fork, your grocery cart, and your nightly routine are powerful levers, sometimes more powerful than a brand new biologic. To use medications when they're truly needed, but to never pretend they replace the hard, beautiful work of changing how you live. Your responsibility, if you're watching this, is not to feel guilty. It's to get curious. Ask, what could I change in my nutrition, my sleep, my stress, and my environment before or alongside these expensive medications? I'll keep doing my part in clinic, on YouTube, at conferences, and yes, occasionally on the couch next to my wife, shaking my head at the commercials. You do your part in your kitchen, in your calendar, and in your conversations with your doctor. That's how we stop arguing about whose fault it is and start building a system where metabolic health is the default and the fancy drugs are the backup plan, not the main course. I'll see you in the next video.